Good evening. Are we live?
Yep.
All right. Megan, will you please read the statement of presiding officer?
Of course. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call-in information, were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel and the Morris Daily Record and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda.
Okay. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Megan, will you please take the roll?
Committeeman Dorsey?
Here.
Committeeman Ray?
Present.
Committeeman Verleza?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Pasurgia will be joining us via Zoom, but he is not on currently. And Mayor Lavender.
Present. Okay, first off, 12 Baskets, is Shane Daly here? Shane, come on up. I think you're going to make a presentation for 12 Baskets Food Pantry, and I think I see Reverend Vicky with you. If you could introduce yourselves and take it away.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out for the 12 Baskets presentation. It's a great turnout tonight. No, just a little joke. I understand everyone's here for a couple other things. So we will be brief. Mayor Lavender, Administrator Barr, and committee, thank you so much for having us tonight. It's been about a year since we last gave you an update on pantry progress. So we appreciate the opportunity. And we have a couple folks from our committee, Pastor Vicki McGrath, All Saints Episcopal Church. This is Lori Pillsbury. She's a Millington resident and volunteer at large. And Donna Fucci, who's also a volunteer at the 12 Baskets. So Pastor Vicki, if you would come up, and she will present us with a couple remarks. And Megan, if you could cue our slides. Thank you. We'll be here.
Okay, there we go. I want to be able to see people both ways. Anyway, good evening, Mayor Lavender, Administrator Barr, and Council. As Shane said, I'm Vicki McGrath. I'm the rector at All Saints Episcopal Church, and my role in 12 Baskets Food Pantry is that I convene the core of volunteers and really think about policies and direction for the food pantry. So I'm here this evening to provide an update on what 12 Baskets Food Pantry has accomplished over the last 14 months, and to acknowledge and thank everyone who's helped to make it happen. So a very quick overview. 12 Baskets is a community project that is sponsored by All Saints Episcopal Church, First Presbyterian Church of Sterling, Myersville Presbyterian Church, Long Hill Township CERT, and Community Services. The food pantry provides supplemental food for Long Hill and neighboring communities, individuals, families, senior citizens, and veterans. The pantry's open for food distribution on the first and third Saturdays of the month, and emergency requests for food on an as-needed basis. And there's actually an emergency phone number to be able to call. Since reopening to the community for walk-in service last January, so that's January of '22, we have seen the need and support grow throughout the year. The number of families registered with our food pantry went from 16 families at the beginning to now 63 registered families, registered households. That's nearly quadrupled growth, 393%. The slide says that there are 29 households average on any given Saturday, but we've seen that number go up. So 29 is just the average. Of those households, The seniors within, the senior households within that big group have gone from 10 to 21. That's 110% growth. We receive donations, food donations from the wider community, where we used to pick up donations twice a week in the food barrels that are at All Saints Church. Now donations are gathered in daily. The volume of food distributed has gone from 5,000 pounds of food to 12,000 pounds of food on a monthly basis. That's 128% growth. And we've continued to be able to provide more food to veterans who we connect with over at Lions. The community, the wider community, has really supported the pantry, and we're very happy about this, and we've continued to expand. The volunteer time has expanded 50% in the last 14 months, and new volunteers are being added each month. Bi-weekly donations of bread, eggs, meat, and fresh produce all come to us through local participants, including local residents who have hens and donate eggs. Also, we have a connection with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey in Hillside. We are a partner agency of the Community Food Bank, so we get food from them as well. Also, the community has been very generous in things like holiday drives that the pantry has run, which has enabled us to provide each family that is registered with us for the fixings for complete holiday meals, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. We've also sponsored special donation drives that have been very successful, and I have to say, these are really Donna Fucci's idea. So thank you, Donna. And so at Christmas time, particularly, we were able to provide special baking kits with flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, and vanilla extract to all the families. And most recently, this past April, we provided a spring cleaning kit to each family. So laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, anything that you would need to keep your household clean. Could we have the second slide, please?
Yeah.
Is it sort of inching up there?
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't translate well when I do
Okay.
slideshow and everything like that, so you have most of it up.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. The food donations, along with the volunteers, are really vital to our ability to provide for these households in our community. And none of this would have been possible if it were not for key donors. Several Long Hill residents who own small businesses are sustaining donors. Through their generosity, they've helped to ensure that we have both the ability and the quantity that we need to provide to all families, especially providing fresh produce on pantry days and other food staples, and providing snack and lunch items for families with school-aged children. We're also very grateful to our corporate partners, particularly Wakefern ShopRite, which is now a collection site, shop and drop off. There's actually a collection basket near the checkout. Walgreens has been very helpful with us, particularly around holiday times. They've provided sweets and candies and lots of other things that have been helpful to us. All of the community churches in this collaboration, so Myersville Presbyterian, First Presbyterian in Sterling, and All Saints have used their facilities for food collection and distribution sites. So All Saints is the primary location, but in the summer it moves over to, the pantry moves over to First Presbyterian in Sterling. And then First Presbyterian has also been a good site for things like assembling school lunch kits and snack kits for the students at Central School who are part of the Middle School Community Service Club. They're able to walk from school to First Presbyterian to work on this outreach project. And then we've also had community food drives that have been held by Kearney Bank, They provided collection spots and advertising, and Boy Scout Troop 56 has benefited us in their annual food drive, as well, of course, as benefiting the food pantry at St. Vincent's in Sterling. Our friends at the Long Hill Township Library have sometimes run a food for fines program. So instead of paying your library fines, you can bring some non-perishable foods. And then, as I mentioned, Long Hill Township Central School, the Community Service Club has done donation drives and assembled snack and lunch kits to be distributed to families with school-age children. And of course, the township, and that's a big part of why we're here tonight, the township has been providing personnel dedicated to supporting this effort through community services and CERT, through the use of facilities for collecting and sorting and staging donations and inventory. And of course, our biggest thanks goes to all of our volunteer workforce, because we rely really heavily on volunteers in our community, whether it's that they're driving to the food bank in Hillside, setting up for food distribution days and taking down, working on the inventory, running food drives, or advocating through their own social media. So in closing, I personally want to thank everyone involved in the food pantry who support our community. These three wonderful people here, but all of the other people who are not here tonight, who are right there with them. Just imagine a line going right out the door. It's a very big group of people, and we're very grateful to them. If you would like more information about 12 Baskets, you can visit the township website social services page, and there's a link. Also, the pantry itself has a Facebook page, and we have an information flyer on the back table right there when you first come in. And you could reach out to anyone who is any of the four of us, or anyone who's listed on the township website social services page for questions or to help in any way. So are there any questions that we can try to address, either from the committee or from the public?
So Reverend Vicki, first thanks, and thanks everybody for your service. This is hugely important to the town. How are the levels right now, and are there any donations in particular you'd like people to focus on? Shortages that you might have in one type of thing or another.
Sure. I think I'm going to let Shane answer that one, because she is more intimately knowledgeable about the actual inventory than I am.
No, thank you, Mayor. So we have pitches that come out on social media. So for those of you, and thank you, Matt, and others who I know help us with that, we do a top 5. Every 2 weeks, we put out our top 5 greatest needs, and that's pushed out through our website and social media. In the immediate, while we have you all in the room, we're coming up on summer, and we're going to be making up some special kits for our families who are home for the summers. During the school year, children get free milk and a lunch program at many of our schools, and things shift over the summer. So we will be pushing out some advertising about what we can do to collect some special kits. So thank you for the question.
And I think
Yeah.
maybe remind everybody how easy it is to donate. I know you've got receptacles.
Thank
Why don't you? It's not hard.
Not
right?
at all. We've got a couple ways to donate. So if you're shopping at our local ShopRite, right out at the checkout center, you'll see some baskets with our signage on it. So as we say, you can shop and drop. That's first. 24/7 in Millington at the All Saints Episcopal Church. That's 5 Church Road. There's some open doors and barrels. Drop off anytime. And we, at those locations, prefer non-perishables. If you'd like to donate some fresh items, that would be a Saturday drop-off on pantry days. So again, I have a webpage, social services, community services, and everything is linked there for your information. Anything else, Mayor, or anyone else?
Matt, Brendan, Vic, anything you'd like to add? Anybody in the public have any questions?
Thank you all. We really appreciate the
Folks.
support from the municipality, and particularly I have a good percentage of my time as your community services program manager dedicated to the 12 Baskets. So it's really working, I think, for all of us, for our families who need the help, and for the community, their participation.
I have to say, we're very grateful for Shane's presence, because the ability to have someone who is a municipal employee and so connected to the community really helps us to keep moving forward. We couldn't do what we are doing without Shane's presence, quite honestly.
No, it's great. It's great to see the program
She didn't
grow.
pay me to say that.
No. Reverend Vicki, Shane, Donna, Lori, thank you very much for coming.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next is John Arpaia here. John, are you here? There he is. I'm gonna go down there. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Come on up, John. Don't be shy. Okay, John, so I understand you're retiring from DPW, is that right?
Yes, I do.
And how many years have you been there?
10 years.
10 years, and town wants to give you a proclamation and thanks for all the hard work that you've done.
I appreciate that.
You have a great reputation as a hard worker. Everybody knows you. I'm going to read this. It says, Giovanni John Arpaia joined the Long Hill Township Department of Public Works Department on May 1st, 2013, 10 years ago. And John owned his own welding shop for 25 years in Hillside and is a master welder. And John is, that's what they say, right? I'm sure it's true. John is well respected by his colleagues and would complete any job given, including blacktop, tree work, basin repair, snow plowing, lawn maintenance. And the Department of DPW, that would be your boss over there, commends John for having an incredible work ethic. And John has retired from Long Hill Township Department of Public Works, and now, therefore, the Township Committee and the Township of Long Hill wish Giovanni John Arpaia well wishes in his retirement and thank him for all his years of dedication to Long Hill Township. Thank you. Hey, John. We have to memorialize this with a photo, you know. Come on, everybody. Everybody, DPW. Where's Al? Come on in. Stand next to your guy. Yeah,
Right front. I get to be in the back. I'm a tall guy.
Everybody say John.
They go to this side.
1, 2, 3.
Very good. Okay, next, we have more fun. Now it's the Girl Scouts' turn. So I'd like to call up Dina Misticelli, Aaron Aronio, Megan Shearer, Elizabeth Vreeland, and Shay Budonis. Come on up. Well, these 5 young ladies have this distinct honor and well, they are in the Gold Award in Gold Scouts, which is the highest award in Girl Scouts. And as I understand it, that award was actually initiated first in 1916, and it's a really, really big deal to get this. This is like, everybody knows I've got 2 Boy Scouts, right? And Eagle's a big thing. I got 3 girls, and they never made gold. Gold is a big thing. It's as big as Eagle and Boy Scouts. And you girls ought to be absolutely proud of everything that you did. I had a chance to kind of go through your projects here, and I just want to give a little bit of highlights. Shay, you did the adaptable toys, right, for people with disabilities, right? Can you tell us a little bit what that was? That one was real interesting.
So I made toys that you'd find commonly in a store, adaptable for kids with disabilities. So normal toys that you see in a store have tiny switches, and that's really hard for a kid with disabilities to use. So I added on a larger switch to the side of the toy, and that made it easier for them to use a toy that their fellow peers would be using.
That's incredible. And let's see, what are you going to college for? You're gonna study nursing, I see here, right?
That's the plan. I'm a junior right now, so I haven't really figured it all out yet, but that's what I'm hoping for.
That's terrific. Let's give Shay a big hand. All right, next is Elizabeth Vreeland. Elizabeth. Okay, so let's see. Your project was you put together a composting program at your school, and you went through a presentation on how to be conscientious about throwing stuff away, and I think you worked that in with gardening and greenhouse gas emissions and other stuff. Can you tell everybody a little bit more color with that?
Yeah, so I actually went to a different school where St. Vincent's used to be, and I reached out to a teacher and I asked to implement a composting program there. So I taught them all about composting and how it helps the environment, and I also taught them what they can do with the compost. So I brought seeds and stuff as well as the compost for them to use. And they also reached out to a different school, and I presented a video to them to inspire them to start a composting program in the future.
That's terrific. And you're going to be attending Rutgers University. What are you going to be studying?
Psychology.
And it says here you're going to be pursuing your doctorate.
Yes.
That's terrific. Let's give a hand to Elizabeth. So next, Megan Shearer. Megan. Okay, so for your Gold Award, you focused on recycling, and more specifically battery recycling, which we know is a big problem with all the heavy metals and the pollutants in it. This was pretty impressive. You collected over 200 pounds of batteries.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I reached out to my school community, Union Catholic in Scotch Plains, and I also reached out to family and friends and other community members in the Scotch Plains area, and everyone was super supportive of it, so.
And what did you do with 200 pounds of batteries? Where did you take them? Did you give them to Al?
So I actually brought them all to school, and we shipped them off to a place that will recycle them properly and create new things out of the batteries we collected.
That's terrific. And as we know, that's a big problem now with electric vehicles and all these electronic devices that we have, all the cadmium and heavy metals and stuff that are in the battery. So that was really good. So you're going to be doing Seton Hall University studying physical therapy. What is a 3+3 doctorate program?
I get my undergrad in 3 years, and then there's another 3 years, and then I get my doctorate.
Ah, that's terrific. That's terrific. Let's give a hand to Megan. All right, next, Aaron Aronio. Aaron, so let's see. Your project, and this was real interesting. My wife's a veterinarian, and I talked to her about this one. You're trying to solve the problem of, or alleviating animal testing, and in particular, I guess beagles, when they test them for cosmetics or sensitivity to drugs and stuff, so to reduce animal cruelty in that way. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for my project, I decided to focus on generating awareness for laboratory animal testing, which is a problem that not many people know of. And while presenting my project, I realized that it's not commonly known, so I figured it would be the perfect one to solve. To help do that, I partnered with my amazing mentor, Tamara Tokash, and she educated me on since she has firsthand experience dealing with former laboratory animals, she helped educate me, and I partnered with Beagle Freedom Project, which is a rescue organization located in California that helps rescue beagles after they've been in the lab, and I started a social media page to educate my local, global, and national community on the issue.
That's terrific. And so raising the awareness to it as well as trying to come up with solutions. So you're going to be attending the University of Virginia, and what are you going to study?
Biology.
That's great. Okay, let's have a hand for Aaron. And then lastly, Dina Misticelli. Did I say your name right? Yeah. Okay. I was really interested in your project, and this one fascinated me. You successfully earned your Girl Scout Gold Award, et cetera, by focusing on a spirituality garden. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I made a labyrinth, which is a maze, but it's flat to the ground. And I partnered with the Center for Faith Justice, which is an organization that hosts retreatants from middle school ages all the way to adulthood. And they focus on just helping their community and the global community. So I've actually participated in a bunch of retreats with them, and I've gone to West Virginia to help the people of that community, and I've gone to Trenton. So I decided to work with them and create this labyrinth at their headquarters. And I decided that this labyrinth would be a great way to promote mental health and wellness in teens. And yeah.
You know, I actually know what a labyrinth is. About 15 years ago, I went somewhere with my wife, and we walked the labyrinth. And for those of you that don't know it, I think it was Chartres in France, the cathedral. They have that on the floor. The whole purpose of it is to walk this maze and meditate and contemplate while you do it. And it's actually very relaxing. And you know, this whole idea of meditation as a way of promoting mental health, that was a very creative project. You're going to be studying neuroscience and behavior. What brought you to that?
Well, I took an anatomy class my junior year, and I take AP psychology right now, and I just find it really, really interesting. And my sister actually studies neuroscience and behavior too, so she kind of inspired me to do that, but yeah.
That's great. Can we have a hand for Dina? Okay, so I have some proclamations here, and these are from the town. Shay? Elizabeth? There. Megan? Aaron? And Dina. Girls, again, congratulations, great work. You've got a terrific start in life. Keep it going. I'm sure your parents have high hopes for you, but all of Long Hill is proud of you. Thank you. Come on, we're gonna do a picture. Make sure you get the tie. I wore the Girl Scout tie for that.
You want me to take a picture on your phone? One more. Okay, great. Okay. All right, thanks everybody for coming. This is really great. Okay,
let's move forward. Now we are into ordinances. Ordinance 518-23, this is a first reading and introduction. The Cap Bank ordinance, this is business as usual on a yearly basis. Randy, do you want to, if you would you explain this pretty quickly?
Yeah, what this ordinance does is takes the appropriation cap to the statutory limit of 3.5%. Whatever we don't use in the appropriation cap up to that 3.5%, we can bank for additional 2 years in case we need some appropriation room in next 2 years' budgets. We are not at the cap, so we will be banking the difference.
Okay, and again, this is a business as usual kind of thing, which just gives us leeway if we need it. So can I have a motion to approve ordinance 518-23?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. And the public hearing for this will be scheduled June 7th, 2023. Next, ordinance 514-23. This is the second reading and adoption, repealing local pay-to-play ordinance that has been preempted by PL 2023 C30 and amending Chapter 2 of the Township Code entitled Administration. Jack, do you want to comment on this?
Yes, Mayor. Under the old elections law, municipalities could adopt pay-to-play ordinances which were stricter than the state law, and we, in fact, did that in Long Hill Township. At the end of 2022, the state enacted a new statute, the Elections Transparency Law, which was very controversial for a number of reasons. It was opposed by the League of Municipalities, Star Ledger, and other entities. But one of the things it did was it preempted local pay-to-play ordinances and said that any pay-to-play ordinances that are in effect now are not enforceable. So really all we're doing is cleaning up the code because the state has already preempted our local pay-to-play ordinance.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments from the dais? Vic?
No.
Brendan?
No.
Matt? Okay, at this point, I will open the public hearing if there are any comments on this ordinance. Seeing none in the courtroom. Megan, is anybody online got their hand raised?
Anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Can I have a motion to approve 514-23?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Next, ordinance 515-23. This is second reading and adoption. An ordinance increasing dog license fees and amending Chapter 5 of the Township Code entitled Animal Control. Jack, do you want to comment on this?
Yes, this merely raises the township dog license fees to the maximum permitted by state law. It raises them by like $3 because that process should be self-sustaining. So this will make it self-sustaining.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the dais?
Nope.
Vic, Brendan, Matt?
Nope.
All right, at this point, I'll open the public hearing. Are there any questions or comments on this ordinance? None? Seeing none? Megan, anybody online?
Anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Can I have a motion to approve 515-23?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Next, we're on to a resolution 23-136 and 23-137. 136 is the resolution for self-exam for the calendar year 2023 budget. And 137 is introduction of the 2023 municipal budget. This is the introduction and first reading. The public hearing on this will be on June 7th. Next meeting, May 24th, we'll go into it in depth with a presentation and take questions at that time. so everyone will have time to study it between now and the next 2 weeks. So can I have a motion to approve?
Mayor, if you will,
Yes.
I just have two quick adjustments to make on this. We realized late today that we received more state aid from the state of New Jersey, and that the minimum library tax needed to be adjusted. So the adjustments are on the summary of revenues. Number one, surplus should be $1,986,637, which will be in the state document presented to the state. And number two, the total miscellaneous revenue is $3,255,689.05. Now, those two do not change the budget at all. The minimum library tax we had in the document was $646,800. That should actually be $646,830. So the library got $30 more, which would increase the total budget by $30 of what was publicized. Now, and at the bottom of the balance of outstanding debt, I had made an error and put the deferred charges in that amount. This is actually balances of debt issued in bonds and notes. Since we don't have any issued out there, those principal amounts should be zero in the general and zero in the parking.
Got it. And just for information's sake, what was the municipal portion of the budget, the tax rate in terms of percentage?
The tax rate, it has a 1.75% increase over last year. And as you said, we're going to have a presentation in the in-between meetings that will go over the highlights of the budget.
Okay. And in comparison to the year before, what is that?
It's a little lower. I believe the year before we had about a 1.82%. So it is a little lower. We were faced with some difficulties this year, as well as the school boards. I believe we heard that too about a month ago from the Watchung Regional. We faced the same problems. So I think by getting the tax rate to only 1.75% increase over last year was a great achievement.
Okay, so it's comparable. Any questions from the dais? All right. Can I have a motion to approve 23-136 and 23-137?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. So again, just to reiterate it, we'll talk a little bit more about it on the May 24th meeting, and then the public hearing will be on June 7th. Okay, next, consent agenda resolutions. I should make a note here, there's one change. Resolution 23-152 should reference $33, not $32. And I'll ask, does anybody want to pull a resolution to discuss, or anybody need to abstain from anything? I think, Brendan, you've got two
148,
abstentions.
149.
Okay,
I'm abstaining from them.
okay.
I just have a general question. On 146, what does that mean?
Extension of license to receiver, Common Thread Hospital.
So that is the Myersville license. It was sold,
Oh, the liquor license.
the liquor
Oh,
license.
okay,
So
right.
this is extending it to the receiver to bring it back to good standing with ABC. Because as of right now, you have not renewed the license for the 2022-2023 period. And if they don't do it by July 30th, the license will cease to exist. So we're allowing them to extend it to the receiver to get it in good standing so it can be in good standing.
And that's the Myersville, not the Myersville people, whoever bought the Myersville, and that's their job to get it back to good standing so they can sell it. Got it.
Okay, and I'll mention one other note here. Danielle Ferrante will be moving on to a different job, but she is going to stay on part-time as administrative assistant in rec. And we'll be hiring her replacement, Mr. Calderola. Right, that is on the next page, 23153. So, with those changes, can I have a motion to approve 23-138 through 23-153, with Brendan abstaining from 148 and 149.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Veleza?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Okay, next, liaison reports. Vic, let's start down with you. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. All right. The liaison report for Rec, Wednesday, May 10th, is as follows. Megan, are you ready? All right, slide 1. Red Cross training class is offered in May. Register on Community Pass to reserve your spot. Class sizes are limited. Please note, classes will not be offered this summer, but will resume in the fall. Must be at least 13 years old to attend. Thursday, May 18th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the Red Cross First Aid Training. Each class is $32 per participant. Don't delay. Reserve your spot now. Slide 2. Plans are in high gear right now for recreation, getting ready for summer. Please remember to register for your summer camp programs at Sterling Lake by May 31st. Lake badges are available for pickup in the Recreation Department. 2 business days after registration through Community Pass. Check out the website for more details on all programming. Additional hours are announced for our first photography exhibition. Come see the beautiful wildlife photos from 3 of our Long Hill resident photographers, Ed Zindel, Olga Argonova, and Marta Sovis. The next open house is tomorrow, Thursday, 5/11, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Please check out the website for the full schedule. See the photos in our restored one-room schoolhouse built in 1850. This is a free event. Slide 4, we have the Memorial Day Parade and Memorial Observance on Monday, May 29th, 9:30 a.m. Any local groups wishing to participate, please contact the Long Hill Recreation Department. On our next slide, we have Sterling Lake Dance, Friday, June 2nd, from 7:30 p.m. through 9:30 p.m. $5 admission fee at the gate. Adult chaperones are needed for this event. This event does not run without them. Please contact the Recreation Department to sign up to chaperone. For slide 6, we have the Dog Days of Summer concert series has been released. Come join us for 11 free concerts this summer. A great family evening. Bring the kids, a picnic dinner, and lawn chairs and blankets. Make sure to mark your calendars to fit everything in. We are kicking off this year's series of concerts on June 8th. And we have a special thank you to the Moms Club of Long Hill for sponsoring our June 23rd concert as we welcome back crowd favorite Parrot Beach, a Jimmy Buffett tribute band. Also, for rec, I want to make sure I mention the Long Hill Community Center. I'd like to thank all the volunteers there that do a great job providing great programs for the members of the Long Hill community. They offer athletic programs at an affordable price, such as tennis, volleyball, aerobics, and dog obedience. They have indoor baseball and softball and soccer programs in the winter season. They also have PBA wrestling events. They also host fundraisers, scouting events, and birthday parties. You can also rent the center for your program or party. Please visit LHCCrentals@gmail.com or call 908-647-2992. They really do a great job at the community center. They've got great programs there. I highly encourage that you take advantage of them. They've got almost like a pickup volleyball game going on there. Maybe some of the members of the township committee we can get involved in that. But that concludes the rec liaison report. Thank you.
Do you have anything for beautification?
Beautification is meeting, I think, on Monday, so nothing new to report there.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Boy Scout Troop 56. They donated several pallets of flowers to the beautification committee. I know Al has been out putting them in the ground in front of Town Hall. Al, you put them in a few places, right?
Front Town Hall tomorrow, Canton Memorial.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
I noticed the flower baskets are looking good, too.
Yeah.
The baskets are not okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the big pots.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll be added to them with donations.
okay. Matt, anything for DPW?
Yes, let's see. All right, this week they planted, the last 2 weeks, 20 challenge grant trees for the residents. The Arbor Day tree was planted today at Carlton Road, the Carlton Road Triangle, right at the top of the road. There's a constant cleaning and repairing the catch basins. As I announced last week, mulch is sold out. They're still doing compost deliveries. They're available Mondays to Fridays. Call 908-647-0070. The mulch is available through the county. You have to order on their websites. You have to go to the Morris County Municipal Authority website and order the mulch from there, but we don't have any more from our town. The lawn maintenance is always, it's a nonstop thing between now and October. The flower planting, as the mayor mentioned, thanks to the Boy Scouts for donating leftover flowers from Troop 56. The big one, May 17th and 18th. So next week, Long Hill Road will be closed from Hickory Tavern to Bridge Street for road repairs. So the DPW is doing that. So what time? It's going to be closed all day or just basically 7 to 4?
6 to 3.
6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you commute to work in the morning, do not take Long Hill Road between Bridge Street and Hickory Tavern on the 17th and 18th. Also, please have your garbage and recycling out by 6 a.m. on the pickup date. We had it's an issue this week where they came by earlier than expected, so we don't know what time they're always coming to your house, but please get the stuff out by 6 a.m. That should avoid any problems. Sterling Fire Department, they had 54, Sterling, basically both fire departments had 54 calls to date, and great job to all the volunteers. As to the police, one big program and announcements for the next couple months. July 17th at 11 a.m. at the Senior Center. I think it's going to be an actually very good program. It's open to all seniors. You do not have to be a member of the Senior Center to attend. They are conducting, the detectives from our town and a representative from a local bank will be giving a presentation on fraud. Fraud, it's on the rise. It's constant. Scam artists are out there preying on anybody they can, so they're going to raise awareness and tell the people what to look out for so they don't fall victim to this. Incidents. This is one it's sad we have to keep telling everybody this, but please lock your cars. On Sunday, two unlocked cars were entered overnight, and wallets and other property were removed. So just please lock your cars. I don't want to have to give these announcements anymore. And finally, this is new. They're doing a home security survey. I said homes are burglarized every 11 seconds in the United States. The average burglar will spend more than 3 to 5 minutes attempting to get into your house. And then we do a home security survey that can help residents evaluate their home's defenses and create a hardened target. More often than not, burglars are entering through unlocked doors and windows almost exclusively when the occupants are away. That's why a lot of the burglaries happen midday, because that's when everybody's out and at work. So the Long Hill Township Crime Prevention Unit wants people to take the first step to improve their security. They'll do a survey for you. They review the locks, doors, windows, landscaping, alarm systems, and general security procedures. You will receive a personal evaluation of your residence combined with valuable, simple, and proven suggestions. So the Police Department Crime Prevention Unit encourages all residents to take advantage of this program and work together towards a safer community. To schedule your security survey, just call and ask for Officer Jeff Scala, or your kids will know Officer Jeff. He's very popular in the schools. 647-1800, extension 509. So it's a free service, and it's only going to benefit you. It probably doesn't take long, and plus you get to meet Officer Jeff, who is very friendly and personable. So 647-1800, 509. Thank you. One more thing I forgot.
Yeah.
This goes under technically emergency management. Nicole's mom, she's a school nurse over at Mount Horeb School. She lives up in Gillette. And a couple weeks ago, they had an incident. There was a car accident right outside of the school at Mount Horeb, right, Nicole? Yeah, Mount Horeb. Her mom's a school nurse. Luckily, she was on the scene. She was able to secure the patients and keep everybody calm and administer first aid immediately before EMS arrived. And then obviously Warren Township Police and EMS, everybody was okay. But local resident Doris Ancelli, thank you very much for your quick action. And I know Warren recognized you, just want to thank you too. So that's that.
While you're at it, can you comment on traffic safety?
Oh, yes.
Do that now.
Yes, I believe we've had, actually, it was at the street fair, we had several residents approach us about different traffic issues they have in town or different hot spots where they see speeding or increased accidents. So the Traffic Safety Committee, I know they're gonna meet sometime in May, Randy?
Yeah, we're
There you
working
go.
on getting a time together. The Traffic Advisory Committee has not met in quite some time, and Officer in Charge Ciambrello wants to reignite that committee so that we can discuss the various complaints that people have and come to hopefully good resolutions.
So if anybody has any traffic safety concerns, please email Randy, myself, Scott Lavender, or Officer in Charge Ciambrello. And there's civilians on this committee as well, so if you have any issues, please bring them up. I know Randy's meeting with Alexis tomorrow to set a meeting date up. So if you have any issues, please email us, because we're only as good as the information we have. Thank you.
Great. So I'll give an update here. Shade Tree Commission. Want to thank Susan Jeans and Ann Cade. They were out in Hicks Track last week with the Boy Scouts. With their help, they planted 25 new trees in Hicks Track, which was not an insignificant task. And so they continue to plant trees around town to replace fallen timber. So I want to thank them for that work. And I did see Susan around the little island at Carlton today, scoping that out, because I think they're going to be doing something there as well.
Planted the tree, right?
They planted the tree. That's great. So shout out to the Shade Tree Commission, all the good stuff they do. Brendan, how about you?
Actually, one report on the planning board, and this is probably a shared one since we're both on the planning board.
Yep.
And I know we've both been active on this one. So the third meeting in a row was cancelled this past Tuesday, and the chairman made the decision to cancel it, given that there weren't any applications pending. And so I wanted to kind of give everybody an update on where we are with the master plan. The master plan is being worked on. We have it has to be done by December this year. So there are a number of issues that we're focusing on in the planning board itself. Some external issues are regulatory that are facing the township, and as well as every other township in New Jersey, where regulations are being haven't quite been promulgated, but certainly are being discussed and will impact the master plan, and that would be for example, the stormwater regulations, and I believe actually there was an article in the Echoes about that this past week. So that's one set of external issues that we're discussing, and that have to be discussed as it pertains to the master plan. The other one is that the master plan has been in process for a number of years, and we've had a lot of very good volunteer input over the course of that time, and we want it to be recognised in the final document. And so one of the things that we will be discussing as we move towards the next meeting will be the subjects that are in that are part of the master plan, and the degree that we'll actually be handling them within the plan, because we want it to be a truly a community document. And so I think the one thing I think for the committee that we should at least we should make you everyone aware of is that there are some dire consequences, obviously, if the master plan isn't in place by December this year. And given what we have here, given what I've just discussed, I think it would be prudent of us potentially, and this will be discussed within the planning board itself, is that we would instigate a re-examination, and this could be done. Typically, it's done by the planner, and it's usually a fairly quick process, but it will give us another. Potentially, I'm not too sure of the time it will give us, but I think it's a minimum of 5 years, potentially another 10 years, and so that would give us a backstop for the town's sake if any of the issues that I've just talked about take longer than anticipated, and so it would mean probably a budget estimate of a rough estimate right now of about $20,000 would, but it would be important to give us that surety that our land use ordinances are still viable beyond December in the case that the master plan wasn't finalised by that time.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that we have a backstop, that we just need to be mindful of that, and probably be mindful of a date, whether we push the button to say, let's do the re-exam. And I would say, if we were in a position where we felt that risk in, say, July,
yeah,
we could trigger that process and very comfortably get through it by September.
Mr. Mayor, may I comment on this, please?
Actually, you may, please.
I participated in 2013 on the re-examination of the master plan. At that time, we committed that we get it done in a year. It's obviously been 10 years. I'm not so sure we can do 2 re-examinations in a row. So before we commit to doing that, I don't believe we can do it legally.
No, this was in the advice of.
Yeah, we talked to Steve Warner.
We can.
I talked to Steve Warner this afternoon, Chuck.
Yeah.
I did.
Boy, that changed from 2013 because our then planner said we can do it 1 year, and then have to do a full plan 10 years from now. So if you think about it, if we do go to re-examination, okay, that would mean we've gone 20 years without a master plan, and then we're taking another 10. Boy, I've got to look at the regs, but in 2013, we said we could do it once, so I'll defer to the new attorneys, but we better double check this, because I think we're in trouble.
Yeah, if I could respond. Chuck, you can stay up here. If I can respond to you. Obviously, the discussion about this is really only as a backup plan, and we'll continue talking about it with the attorney. In the meantime, there's a lot of passions involved on the planning board, as you know. It's not a secret, and folks are trying to work through all the issues. But we just feel that we need to also talk about the backup plan just in case. But the full intent here is to get the master plan itself done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I think the one, if I could say this, right, the one disconnect we have right now is really, some of the timing of the steps to edit the document, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of stakeholders in this, right? Yourself, Mary Ann are all stakeholders because you involved in this a few years ago. It's a matter of, getting everybody aligned around the task to get to end the job, and, that's a difficult thing.
Right.
But Brendan and I are committed. We're kind of shoulder to shoulder on this,
Okay.
working as peacekeepers, if you will.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And just while we're recognizing, I see Pam is in the audience, and she is definitely a lot of work. She put a lot of work into the master plan whenever we had the master plan committee.
It's great that people care so much, and now it's time for everybody to kind of close ranks and just make it happen, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You want to comment? Well, Chuck did. Come on up. You have something to say.
I'm not. Oh, Chuck.
You're a subject matter expert.
I was at the time.
Right.
I learned a lot. I don't know that I was an expert. Mayor Lavender, at the planning board meeting on March 28th, you looked at the chairperson of the planning board and you said, we have to get it done by the end of the year.
Right.
And the response you got from the chairperson of the planning board was, you're the mayor, whatever you say. I have to agree with Chuck. How much longer can we kick the can down the road? A lot's happening in the township, and the residents, at least this resident, feels we need a vision of the future, and we can't keep looking at the same old master plan and thinking it's appropriate with just a re-examination.
Yeah.
I feel strongly that we need to get a new master plan
Yeah.
out to the residents for review. And in my opinion, it looks like our master plan is being held hostage by a couple personalities.
So, I guess I don't want to get into that kind of dialogue with folks because it doesn't pull people out of their protective stances, right? And so what Brenda and I are doing right now is trying to bring people together rather than point out the things that they may or may not be doing right. And also, too, to go back to your comment, yes, I said that, and yes, the chairman did say, you're the mayor. Well, I can say what I want, but that's a semi-autonomous body, right? So they got to get that done. I can't press a button and make them do it. All I can do is, and with Brendan's help, is kind of coach them to come together as a team, close ranks, align, and get it done, right? But I have no power over them, right? You understand that?
Will you appoint the members of the planning board, and if they're not getting
The
their
committee
job,
appoints them, right? And
if they're not getting the job done, there may be others who feel the way I do, that this needs
That's
to
right.
get done. You know, it's the carrot stick kind
know,
of thing.
but we
We've been
also-
dangling the carrot. When do we
Yeah, yeah.
hit them with the stick?
But this is the
Gotta
team.
get done.
This is the team we have on the field this year.
Yeah,
right. And so we got to play the game with the team that we have, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. We're all frustrated, but
Well-
again, let's kind of pull together and try to pull
Well,
people together.
How
and-
much longer do we, I mean, having sat for 3 years on the master plan committee and
You're a
making
stakeholder, yeah.
a lot of progress and putting in a lot of work where at times we were meeting every week for
Mm-hmm.
hours, every week. And then to see 3 meetings in a row canceled, it just seems unbelievable.
Brendan, I'll give you the last comment.
Thanks. No, I mean, as I say, the work has been done on the master plan, even though those meetings were cancelled. And the idea here is really the re-examination. Just to reiterate that point, it's a backstop for us. It's just to make sure that the town doesn't get into some hot water whenever, because there's a rebuttable presumption without a master plan that your land use ordinances are not valid. And so that's the backstop that's going to save us. But the chairman of the Chairman Sandow, as well as the former chair of the master plan subcommittee of the planning board, both have reiterated to us that we are on track for a master plan this year. Given some of the things that I mentioned, I just want to give us some breathing room. But we will be. It's our intention to be presenting the residents with a full-blown new master plan this year.
And that it not be presented to the residents in December with 1 week to review and get comment.
No. Yeah,
It has been said that it has been circulating around town that that's what we can anticipate,
No.
that there will be insufficient time and it's got to be turned around.
Right.
I'm hoping that we, the residents, have sufficient time to have input. The second point is there must be, Brendan, Committeeman Ray, there must be some low-hanging fruit. I know some of the elements are less contentious than others. Can we just get some elements out for public review? I know land use is going to be the most contentious, of course, but we have historical, we have conservation, we have open space, recreation. Can we get some of these elements out so people of the town feel like there is some progress being made on the master plan
Yeah.
in whole. Let's get something out. I know land use is
Yeah,
the difficult one.
contentious one. Yeah, yeah.
So is there a possibility to get a time frame out for some of these less difficult elements out in draft?
I mean, I think we can go. We can commit to answering exactly those questions by the next planning board meeting. We'll have a timeline in place.
Okay, I'll be watching for the timeline.
For that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, well, this special portion of our program is now over. Let's go, any other liaison reports? Brendan?
No.
Fire, anything?
No. Matt,
What was that
Matt
word that,
handled that one.
spazuzera? What was?
Oh yeah, I've forgotten that one.
Yeah, it was, all right, never mind. Inside joke. Randy, administrator report?
I've already mentioned a couple things that I had, so we're good.
Okay, heading into discussion, we already talked about traffic advisory committee, but Jack, do you want to give us an update on the administrative code?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. It was brought to our attention that the administrative code list of liaisons was not current. So as I told the Township Committee at the last meeting, the administrative code hasn't been amended in 27 years, and there are a number of other sections in there that don't reflect current practices. So I made some amendments to it. I circulated a copy with track changes so that you could follow them, and if they're all acceptable, we can introduce an ordinance at the next meeting or the following meeting if more discussion is necessary. In section 2-2.1 organization, it provided that the reorg meeting was to be held on January 1st within the first 7 days. It's never been held on January 1st in the time I've been here, so I just took that out. It's not, that used to be the way all towns did it, 9 o'clock Saturday morning on January 1st. Then going down to powers of the mayor, I just clarified the language in the mayor's serving as Class 1 member of the planning board. It said before, or his or her designee. I wanted to make it clear, so I tracked the language of the MLUL, and it says, and may appoint a designee to act in his or her absence. Because actually, that person is not a member. They're just standing in your shoes when you want them to. So I also added that you serve as a member of the Library Board of Trustees with a similar provision. That was not in there. Going down, in powers of the Township Committee, I just updated the title of the building inspector to construction official. Then under Township Committee liaisons, I thought, since those aren't statutory, or most of them aren't ordinance positions, that it would be better just to say at its annual reorganization meeting, or as soon thereafter as may be practicable, the Township Committee shall appoint liaisons as it deems appropriate to township boards, commissions, committees, and departments. That way, if there's a new committee or a committee's abolished, we don't have to go back and change the administrative code every time.
Yeah.
Going down to, there was a section under meetings, 2-3, which said that no matter shall be commenced after 11 p.m. And I never thought that made sense in a township committee setting. It makes sense in a planning board setting because you're just not going to start an application before 11. But we have business to do here, and it seems arbitrary to say, okay, we're not going to finish the agenda. So I just took it out, as long as it's okay with you. Then going down just to the organization meeting, I put that the elections for mayor and deputy mayor will be conducted by roll call vote rather than ballot, just because we've never done it by ballot. Then going down to the mayoral appointments, I added Historic Preservation Advisory Committee. I deleted Local Assistance Board because we don't have one anymore. I also, with respect to township township committee appointments, paragraph D, I added the CAC to that. Then going down to meetings, 2-3.2, I deleted references to agenda meetings. We used to have workshop meetings, one workshop meeting a month and one regular meeting. one action meeting, and we haven't done that in 25 years, so
Yeah.
I just took out references to agenda meeting. Then we had a section in there about participating by telephone when we didn't have a quorum, and that's become obsolete in the era of Zoom. So I put that if we lacked a quorum and the mayor determines that a meeting should be held remotely, members of the governing body may attend that meeting remotely, and I changed the language from telephone throughout to remotely. Then I added a section at the end of section 2-3.2, and I think it's important to put in there because I don't want, if technological problems prevent people from participating remotely, I don't want it to affect the validity of the meeting or the adoption of any ordinances. So I added the following language. The township clerk will make every effort to broadcast township committee meetings and to allow members of the public to attend meetings remotely. Failure of the clerk to provide a live broadcast of a meeting or technological problems encountered during the course of the meeting that affect remote viewing and/or public participation will not invalidate the meeting or any action taken at that meeting, including but not limited to the adoption of any ordinance, resolution, or motion. Then, let's see. There was a section down in, I'm not even sure what section this is. I think it's meetings. But in any event, it provided that the mayor may also include a public session agenda meetings when appropriate. And since 1997, when this was adopted, state laws changed that we have to have a public session at every meeting. So, you know, that discretion's been taken away from you. You have to do it. So I took that out. And those are all the changes. None of them were substantive. They were really stylistic or bringing things up to date.
Or nomenclature, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
if the committee has any issues with any of that, let me know. Otherwise, we can introduce an ordinance at the next meeting.
And that's in our inbox?
I circulated, it's also in the file folder on OneDrive.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
That's all I have, thank you.
Okay. So announcements, let's do to that. Memorial Day Parade, May 29th. It starts at 9 a.m. It goes to 12 p.m. I don't know, Brendan or Matt, do you have any other comments on that? I know the firehouses are very involved in that, right?
Yep, we're preparing for it.
Okay. And Al, is Sterling doing anything afterwards?
Yes, same as usual, hot dogs in the Grove.
So hot dogs in the Grove after the parade at the Sterling Firehouse. Awesome. Okay. PBA kickoff the summer event, June 24th, 1 to 6 p.m. Matt, I think you mentioned that, but can you just run through that again?
Well, I believe they do in the parking lot here. Last year was the first one they had. I think they had some food trucks. I think almost all the police officers are there. It was a good time, and it was a nice way to interact with the police officers and other emergency services people on a less formal basis. So I thought it was very well received last year, and they got good response. They want to do it again.
Good. All right, so June 24th, 1 to 6. And then lastly, the primary election is June 6th. Polls open at 6 a.m. and go to 8 p.m. Megan, I think there was a change in polling place for one of the districts from the senior center?
Districts 5 and 6 will now be voting in the meeting room of the library. They will be receiving postcards if they are in District 5 or 6. Probably sometime early next week, we'll be sending those out.
Okay, so District 5 and 6, you'll be getting postcards. You're going to Town Hall to vote?
The library.
The library to vote. Okay, good. Any other announcements? All right, at this point, I'll open.
I actually just have one other
Yeah, sure.
announcement. This is a kind of a late breaker, Mayor, if I may.
A what?
A late breaking announcement.
Late breaking, all right.
So the Stirling and Millington fire, we are soon going to be selling tickets for not just a 50-50, it's going to be a mega 50-50. Mega 50-50, yeah, it's a new spin. The tickets will be $20 each. We will sell a total of 1,250 tickets, which means that the winner will stand to win $12,500. And the drawing will be on September 23rd at the Senior Centre, because on that night we will be holding the two companies will be holding a comedy show with professional comedians, not necessarily the members, but so that will be one of the things that we will be having. With the drawing will be that night, the comedy show, and also it will be the second or third annual chili cook-off. So that's
And what's the date on
big
that?
night, September 23rd.
September 23rd, okay. And I think that reminds me, now that we're getting into the fall, I think the Elks Club will be holding their Oktoberfest that first Saturday in October. So that'll be a big event as well. Great, a mega 50.
Mega.
Good. All right, so at this point, we'll open the meeting to the public. Remarks and statements pertaining to any matter. Comments and remarks will be limited to 3 minutes. Anybody in the room have anything they'd like to say?
Hey, gentlemen. Marty Giovanni, Heritage Road, Millington, New Jersey. It's been a couple, I haven't been able to attend these lately, but I noticed the difference in attire, which is nice to see you guys all in suits. It's a little interesting. I mean that in a good way, though. It's just, I'm not used to seeing you guys up there in suits. One recommendation in terms of that, I was hoping, I don't know if there's a rule, cell phones, right? I've noticed multiple times people just spending minutes in a row on their cell phones while either you guys are talking or we're talking. Is there a rule that you guys have that you shouldn't have them up there? I guess I understand they're urgent matters, and if you have something, get on it. But I think just out of etiquette and, you know, showing people the right respect, whether it's one of you guys speaking or one of us, let's maybe not have our cell phones out, right? Just
I don't disagree with you. In fact, I don't think you'll ever see me on my cell phone. I don't think you have.
I'm not talking about you specifically.
Yeah.
I don't want to call people out. It's just, I want to make it known that it's very obvious that those things are happening. But I just want to, that's totally beside the point. It's just something I noticed.
It's a fair comment, and it's something that I brought up to the committee.
Okay, good. Awesome. So on that note, it has been a bit of time. I'm curious, I just wanted to follow up on a couple things. One, we talking about the MRI report. I think it's been a couple months. Just want to see what the update was on that, right? In terms of the progress, where we stand, what actions have been taken, and what are we looking to do with that information? Are there any plans to make any changes that were recommended?
Yeah, Matt, I'll let you take that one. You've been working with Alexis.
Yes, one, we got rid of the biggest problem. Two, we were hiring 2 additional officers.
What was the biggest problem?
Read the report. We are hiring 2 additional officers. They're starting right when they graduate the academy in when is it? Right at the end of beginning of June. We have 2 new officers, assuming they pass the background check. They're starting. We have another officer, Jaramillo, who was started. He finishes the academy, so he had to go back. He starts in June as well. We've talked about upgrades to the building, which I know Randy and Lieutenant Chambrillo have been working on. We're looking at new vehicles that we have. Lieutenant Marcheski's been working on. The radios.
The civilian we're looking at.
Oh, yeah, the civilian employee. We authorized them to hire a civilian employee to help out with administrative tasks. What else do we have going on?
Alexis is working through a pretty significant backlog.
Yes, significant backlog of things that weren't done. The accreditation is back on track. Lieutenant Chambrillo actually got a discount from the accreditation company, I believe, to get that back on track and going. I think she saved like $10,000 on that. And everything's moving forward at a very good pace right now. There's more been done probably in the last 4 months than has been done in years.
That's good to hear.
And the radios
I would
are all
like
up and
more
working.
detail. That when we say working, right? If we can get more, hey, I'm working on that. I get it, but it'd be nice to know what is being done. I think to the point you were talking about the master plan, for example, when you have 2 sides that have the same common goal but different perspectives to look at it. For example, us, you guys as a committee and as an individual in this town, probably want the same things, right? We have different perspectives of how we get there. The challenge when you have those 2, whether it's master plan, is that you need to have an agreement, a mutual agreement of action to be taken. And both sides have to agree to that. And unfortunately, when I hear about things like the master plan, oh, we'll get it done by December, that's the plan. Well, I'd like to see you guys provide the township people an action plan of what must happen. I don't care if you have to work it back, you know, this should be very familiar for you, Scott. We both work in kind of that same industry. You start backwards. When do we need to have this by?
What needs to be accomplished by that point in time? And if it doesn't, you hold the people accountable because they agreed to this. That is a challenge on, I think, our part to sit there and say, hey, we're working on this. I can tell you, hey, I'm working on this. Maybe that means you are, maybe it means you aren't. But as someone who wants to validate those things, we need more clarity to that. And I think more transparency to that would be helpful.
Yeah, so to respond to you, no, I totally agree with you. And Matt and I have sat down with Lieutenant Chambrella and Lieutenant Marcheski a number of times on a very periodic basis. And one of the first things that we asked Alexis for was a 30-60-90 plan, which
Perfect.
You're familiar with that. You know what that is. And they put a lot of thought into that. Some of that stuff we can talk about. Obviously, some of it can't because it talks about some deficiencies. But, you know, I can assure you that they're working on it from that perspective. Now, I think, you know, as the summer goes on, you'll see more and more changes. And again, one of the main things is with this, these civilian employees are force multipliers, right? There is so much work that falls upon the shoulders of officers that is non-sworn duty kind of tasks, right?
Yep.
And it doesn't make sense to have like a captain or a lieutenant or a sergeant doing those things. You're spending a lot of money,
Exactly.
you're burning benefits, all this other stuff. One of the strategies is to, you know, get to a point where we can put more of that into civilian hands with folks who have the subject matter expertise and offload, so we get the cops on the street doing the things they love to do, which is keeping us safe, right? So that's one of the big focuses right now. The whole thing about, you know, getting us back to accreditation obviously is a lot of work. And that's one of the areas too where we want to get the civilian focused in on, because there's so much of that that can be offloaded, right? But, you know, they're working through some of the, you know, some of the issues with the turnover, right, that happens. They're trying to hire. They're basically trying to run and dress at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. And, you know, all I can say is, like, I'm really impressed with how Alexis and Jimmy have stepped up to the task. And, you know, it's going to get better through the year.
That's all I want to hear is we're making progress. We're moving down the road that it's, again, like you guys, you have 24 hours like the rest of us and probably 1,000 tasks to get through, just like the police officers do. Making certain that you're using that time efficiently is important. So I don't knock that. So with that being said then, it's been a couple months now that we're without a chief police, right? We have a, you know, commander in charge kind of scenario. And again, forgive me because I haven't had the opportunity to spend a lot of attention to all this. Is there an intent to, you know, hire a chief? Is that a discussion that's being debated? Are we going to go a different way? I'm just curious as to what the intention is.
We'll kind of keep that one to ourselves right now. I think our preference would be to promote from within.
Okay.
And, you know, we want to keep all options open.
Okay, maybe a better question is there anything specific that you're concerned about of just repeating and adding a chief? That's, I guess, a better question then. Because to your point, you guys have to make your decisions. I'm not trying to get insight into it. I'm just curious as a person, whether we have one, if everything is safe and we're all good, wonderful. But I'm just curious what concerns we might have about, you know, getting a new chief.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so much concerns, and it's not so much about, you know, who is the next chief going to be. It's really who's the next chief after this chief going to be. It's all about a succession plan. And that succession plan starts at the officer level. It goes up to sergeants, lieutenants, and up to chief. And so that's kind of what we're focused on right now. We've been very candid with Alexis and Jimmy. That's one of the key things that we're looking at is what is that succession plan going to be?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. And then, sorry, last thing, and I know we're having the budget committee meeting at another, but you said I didn't follow what you said about you said 2 million. What was going to zero? You mentioned that there was a mistake, a clerical error on the budget that was reported in here. I missed that.
Randy can respond to that.
Yes. Thank you, sir. The last item where it says balance of outstanding debt.
Okay.
The reference to that is actual debt that has been issued in bonds and notes. And what I had put in there is the deferred charges that we have on the books. So we do not have any principal amounts in bonds or notes outstanding. So those two in the parking utility and the general fund should be zero.
Yeah, so if I could interpret that, we bought fire engines
That was going to
last
say, it was
year.
the bond ordinance that you guys had a year ago.
Well, no, there was no bond ordinance.
Yeah, there was.
There was.
We
sorry.
did two bond ordinances that
But we're not incurring debt.
issued the authorization for us to go out to debt if we need to go out to debt.
Okay.
The financial plan is to, if you will, fund ourselves.
Yep.
Loan ourselves the money so we could save the taxpayers' interest payments and closing costs and so forth.
Okay.
So far, that's working out very well, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay. So okay, now I understand what you're saying. All right, excellent. And then I noticed that, I don't know what you can share about this, is that I was looking at the executive session. There was an attorney-client privilege statement, but cell tower. Is there an update on the cell tower? I'm just curious if there's anything from that perspective. You know, we spent a lot of time, you guys did a lot of work getting everything from the communication standpoint.
Oh, no, yeah, this has nothing to do with
Oh,
that.
totally different? Okay, I
Leasing
wasn't
the
certain if
carriers
there's
of
something
the
was going
existing
on.
cell tower at Public Works.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
excellent. Great, that's all the questions I had. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Thank you.
Charles Arenowitz, Millington. Not a lot of questions tonight, probably two, but mainly comments. Comment one. You as a township committee has again misled the public. After 2 retirement lunches and an emotional township committee meeting where the departing township administrator, the township administrator has not left Long Hill Township. Our prior township administrator continues to serve as our qualified purchasing agent, QPA. Let's cut our losses and name Randy Barr as our QPA with a resolution tonight. Randy, as you all know, held this position in Long Hill Township. He's qualified to hold it. And I think you need to act on it tonight. Our prior township administrator, according to an inappropriate comment by then Mayor Dorsey on personnel matters in public, where he stated the township administrator and Chief Naga have a personality conflict. A comment that should have never been made in public. That comment could have cost us taxpayers millions of dollars on behalf of the chief and behalf of Nancy. Millions. Our township administrator our prior township administrator, continued her history of creating personnel issues by trying to move an office of a township employee up until her last day as physically working here on April 12th. You all know what I'm speaking about. Stop the prior township administrator's access to this building and any future damage that she could cause with a resolution tonight appointing Randy Barr as QPA. The last speaker, my neighbor, asked what was going on and what was happening with the MR report. It was stated by Commissioner Dorsey, we got rid of the biggest problem. My question for you, was that the prior township administrator or Chief Naga? Based on, I read the report, I read all 76 pages of it. And I didn't reach the conclusion the biggest problem was Chief Naga. And I didn't need to pay anybody to interpret that report for me. I read it myself. Anybody want to comment on the biggest problem? Mr. Dorsey?
Chuck, you read it.
You're darn right I read it. I read every page of it. Comment number 2. Unfortunately, you again have misled the public. 2 meetings ago, in your approval of our first pilot in this township, I questioned the capacity utilization numbers with the senior care facility in Burnage Township, next to the Shabbat, and Spiro's property application before the zoning board. I was told by you they're all different facilities. Guess what? Spiro's property application is the same as the car wash. Assisted living with special memory dementia units. I again question the revenue numbers on capacity in your projections of tax revenue for this first pilot of the town. Township Committee, you've got a major credibility problem. With these first 2 instances, you've got to start telling the truth. Don't say that those 3 facilities are all different when 2 of them are exactly the same. I'm probably not going to be here in 30 years, but I'll tell you what. I'll stand on, and you can put it in the memory log or whatever we got out front, that we're going to dig up soon, whenever it is, that you were wrong in those 30-year projections. Is Guy on Zoom tonight? When did he join?
In the beginning of the meeting?
That was never mentioned. Comment 3. We had a Zoom meeting last meeting to accommodate everybody out of town. Why were only 3 of you on Zoom? That's one question I'd like answered tonight. Mayor?
Vic, where were you?
I was unavailable.
Okay.
Did we schedule a meeting to accommodate everybody?
Excuse me?
Did we schedule a meeting on Zoom to accommodate everybody?
I don't think that we had a quorum in person. I think that was the problem, right?
No, we didn't. It was only you and I were the only ones
Yeah, we
here.
were the only ones who were in person. So that's why we did it on Zoom. It was either that or cancel the meeting.
So did we have a commitment for 5 people on Zoom or not?
We had a quorum. We had, what, 3 people?
Yeah, we had a quorum.
That's not what I asked.
You want to clarify your question?
Yes. When I read that we're going to Zoom, it said that we had, and opened the meeting, we had to accommodate the committee members that were out of town. So was Mr. Vick and Mr. Pashera out of town?
Yeah.
Ask Guy, he's on he's on Zoom?
Guys at a conference, I believe.
Yeah.
I think he was at dinner. Go ahead. Let him respond. I didn't hear him. Is Guy on Zoom now?
Yes.
Can you get him to respond, Mayor?
I think he can hear you. Is he got his hand up?
No, he
I mean,
does not. And he's a
He's
panelist,
he's
so
in
he can
he's
chime
in
in
as
at any
a
point in
as a
time.
spectator tonight because we have a quorum here.
Well,
correct?
He
He can't-
cannot.
Can't participate.
He can't participate. So he's not on in a voting capacity, Chuck.
So how do I get a response from him?
I would send him an email.
Come on, you can do better than that.
I probably could.
You know, this technology, oh, by the way, just so you know, the prior administrator had 1 meeting in 3 years at the Township Communications Committee. She never had, in at least the last 3 years, never had a departmental meeting. Mr. Baer has had at least 1. He's been here a month. Cut your losses. So again, I ask you, you got rid of the biggest problem. You think about it tonight. Who was it? I know my answer. I don't want to know yours because Matt won't say it, but I know what it should be, and I read the 76-page report page by page. Thank you for your time, And I don't appreciate the response, not getting a response from Mr. Bashir tonight. And we schedule meetings so everybody can attend, and we get 3 people. That's not good to voters. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Good evening, Frank Liberato, Heritage Road. How's everyone tonight?
Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Just had, actually just 2 quick points I came up to ask about. Administrator Barr, I had a question about Resolution 23-150, if maybe you could elaborate and maybe answer my question. I saw in here that AJM Construction was the low bidder. Top Line Construction was a higher number, but it's referenced in here the proposal was most advantageous to go with the higher number. So were the proposals apples to apples, or there was something different in one proposal warranting the additional money?
You want to answer?
If you'd like me to.
Yeah, please.
The 2 proposals were apples to apples, and we awarded to the quotes that we got that were most advantageous to the township in getting the project done in a timely manner that we needed to get it done.
So that means then basically there was a timeline set and the other contractor couldn't meet the timeline? Is that the reason?
Couldn't guarantee it.
And the other contractor could guarantee it?
Correct.
This is the same contractor that was used on Main Avenue, correct?
Correct.
And same contractor who put the lights up out there, right? It was under their contract?
It was under their contract, different contractor did it.
Right, subcontractor, but still, it's
Subcontractor
ultimately,
did it.
right, like when I do a job and I have a sub, I'm on hook if he doesn't follow through. So, is the electric meter installed yet, so the lights can be turned on?
JCP&L is reviewing it.
Is there a problem with the project, why it's taking so long?
There's JCP&L, utility companies work at their pace. It's at JCP&L, it's a new.
So it has nothing to do with the contractor or anything the contractor had to do as far as with
Contractor
filing?
did what they were supposed to do. We did the DR, we faxed out a DR number, and we actually, I have a meeting with JCP&L next week.
Do you know when the contractor started the procedure with JCP&L as far as getting the meter?
I do not have that information with me tonight.
Okay, so basically, really, the contingency of the bid for getting back to the wheelchair ramp was you had to guarantee the date in order to get the job. Basically, you had a deadline, because it had to be done in time for the voting.
Correct.
Okay, and those bids are available for inspection?
They're not bids,
They're just proposals?
proposals.
All right, so then that would have to be an open request as where regular bids are available for inspection, like when you have an open public bid, so it's a little different because you just collected 2 bids. Okay, that answers the question, thank you. The next item I wanted to talk about, or ask about, I should say. I read the article in the Echoes on May 1st that Paul Ferrero was discussed about stormwater utility and the regulations coming down from the DEP. And he was talking about how a lot of towns are not necessarily taking advantage of the stormwater utility option that the state's allowing municipalities to set up. I'm not very well versed in it, but I wanted to know what our town's plan was, if we're exploring doing that, or if we're doing something else, because it kind of seemed pretty concerning what he wrote in the article there about the 52 regulations that are coming down the pike and will affect the towns if we don't have a stormwater utility, because he basically said stormwater utility is currently the only mechanism that would be able to dedicate funds directly to stormwater management, thus allowing a utility to properly operate, maintain, repair, and improve their stormwater system. He further stated that no towns have really jumped at that offer currently. Are we looking at that? Is he helping us with it?
Yeah, Randy, do you want to comment on that one?
I personally disagree with that statement. A utility is not the only way you can have dedicated funds to fund a project. You could have dedicated funds within a municipal budget process and fund it that way. Having a utility is, I don't believe there's any advantage of having a utility to, you charge fees in a utility. It's nothing more than an additional tax. You call it what you
So
want.
it's a collection mechanism to be able to allocate that funds regularly as opposed to setting aside in a budget? Is that kind of the difference?
That's the kind of difference, and it would increase fees to the residents, and you can, from my understanding, you can charge applicants higher money to collect in a utility for stormwater regulations, but we are looking at actually application fees that will also help offset those fees. I actually had a discussion with our engineer who works for Paul Ferrer today about the stormwater regulations and where we're going. So we have it well in our minds, and we'll do what we have to do to meet the standards.
So you feel there's a better path than what this gentleman's proposing, who's our engineering firm, that will still meet the requirements? Is there a dollar figure, in other words, what these 54 regulations, the impact to public works per se, or to the budget as far as meeting these requirements is going to require the budget to be adjusted to? Like, for instance, say right now you got 25,000 allocated for this, for argument's sake, and when they implement the new regulations, are you going to need 100,000 or 200,000 annually to be compliant? Do we even know where that
I
falls?
don't think anybody knows. I don't think anybody can answer that question. I don't even think DEP can answer that question if you ask them. These are all new regulations that DEP is coming up with to, in my opinion, to do an undue burden on local municipalities. We do have stormwater regulations, and the DEP is taking it tenfold higher than what we currently have. Instead of working with the municipalities in coming up with a reasonable plan so that the taxpayers and residents of New Jersey don't get hammered like they are hammered with taxes and every other
So it's almost like an unfunded mandate for them.
I was still speaking.
Sorry.
And to answer your question, yeah, it's an unfunded mandate that the state had passed a law that they will not pass unfunded mandates, but yet they continue to pass unfunded mandates.
Do you think that with these additional regulations, it's going to require more personnel to stay compliant with this from a public works standpoint? So I know you can't quantify a number, but at some point, I guess, if these regulations implement maybe inspections or cleaning of catch basins on a certain basis beyond what we do, I don't know how you forecast for that as far as staffing to meet that.
You have to know what the regulations are first. And quite honestly, if I had a crystal ball here, I wouldn't be sitting here.
No.
Okay?
You would have the mega millions. You'd be in a good spot.
Like all state regulations, they implement these regulations, and sometimes it takes years for themselves to come up with how to implement them. We're quite aware of what the state is looking at. We have, I believe, the engineer on staff to help us move forward with that. He's very knowledgeable in stormwater management.
So he's going to basically work with you, even though his boss, the owner, has really got a different vision as far as stormwater utilities compared to
I'm
what.
talking Mr. Ferrara.
Okay, yeah.
It's his firm that we have hired.
Right, and then the gentleman is Mark is the gentleman that is assigned to the town?
Correct.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you for clarifying that. At least I have a better understanding. The last point, Mayor, I just wanted to say, in regards to being respectful to all parties regarding the settlement agreement, with the chief, it's unfortunate when certain comments are made referring to, the biggest problem is gone. I think we're all moving forward and not looking back. And when people say something like that without saying a name, it's kind of implied you're referring to one or two individuals. And this has happened before, and I think the purpose of the agreement was really not to disparage each other and just move forward. And I think it's great with the improvements you make with the police department and things you're doing. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Take care. Anybody else like to comment in the room right now? All right, seeing none. Megan, is anybody online with their hand up?
Marianne Noonan would like to speak.
Sure. Hi, Marianne. Can you,
Hi, good evening.
hey, Marianne, can I,
yes.
first off, can I say something to you?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I apologize for not getting back to you. I had a call out to the chairman. I only talked to him yesterday. And I know I told you I would call you, so I apologize for that.
Okay.
I think,
Yes,
you know, a lot of the comments that Brendan and I made earlier tonight were actually made with some of your comments in mind. So that said, what's on your mind?
I jumped on the call rather late, so I didn't hear the early part. I started hearing commentary. So with what you had just stated, Mayor Lavender, I thank you. And as I mentioned, if there's anything I could facilitate, but we do need to get this done.
Yep.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else online, Megan?
If anybody else on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. Don't see anyone, Mayor.
Okay, all right, well, very good. I'm going to close public session. And at this point, I've got to find my agenda, but I think we're ready to close, right?
We are. Motion adjourned.
So can I have a motion
Second.
to adjourn?
Seconded by Brendan.
You.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Stop the button.
You gotta hit the, yeah.